NFL returns tonight, preseason action, and we're going to go live to Canton, Ohio to speak with the legend Sal Paolantoni about tonight's showdown between the Steelers and the Cowboys. How to bet the gold medal matchup between the U.S. and France, and of course, sucker bets. All on today's edition of Bet. That's Tyler Foljam. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. Cubs Rockies under. It got there.
There we go.
What a bounce back.
12-2 now is the trend over the last 14 games for unders at Coors Field. But you and Doug have been carrying me this week on Best Bets, my lifeless, limp, dead body. So appreciate that.
See more of that lifeless, limp, dead body today at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Football fans, rejoice. Check out the YouTube channel at youtube.com/ESPN Sports Betting. We've got our two-a-day series up there, as well as some other goodies if you want to check it out. But we begin today's show with phase 2 of our college football countdown. It's time to get to business. Yesterday, we previewed the Southeastern Conference. Both Tyler and I have wagers on Georgia to win the conference. You like Texas A&M under 9.5 wins. I like Kentucky over 7 wins. Today, we go to the Big Ten, the loser of last year's championship game. And let's take a look at the win totals beginning in the East. No surprise there. The Buckeyes at 11, meaning you're going to need an undefeated season at 12-0 in order to cash the over. Penn State looking to bounce back after struggling last year with a win total of 9. Indiana and Michigan at 7.5 apiece. Rutgers, who's getting better under Greg Schiano in his second stint, at 4, bringing up the rear. Now let's go over to the West, where you'll notice that Wisconsin leads the way at 9.5. Don't sleep on Iowa, although they opened the season with a massive showdown against Iowa State. Their win total 8.5, and you trickle all the way down to some familiar faces, highlighted by Illinois. Brett Bielema takes over as head coach. The win total's 3.5. We begin right here. Ohio State has won this conference in 5 of the last 7 seasons. Would you bet on Ohio State to win the Big Ten, or is there anyone else that catches your eye?
I would bet only on Ohio State to win the Big Ten. When you just look at this conference, they've dominated it, whether it be Urban Meyer, then handing the reins over to Ryan Day. They recruit like Alabama and Clemson. They are in that group of elite college football programs that every single year is in the college football playoff and is given the benefit of the doubt if they lose a game because they have a rabid fan base, they have a broad national appeal, they have all the elements that you want for a national brand powerhouse. They are the
They've shown they can do it as the 4 seed too.
Absolutely. They got to the college football playoff championship game last year, and that was after the Big Ten was thinking about not even playing the college football season because of the pandemic. So they are one of the crown jewels of the sport, again, alongside Nick Saban and Alabama, Dabo Swinney, and Clemson. Ryan Day has yet to lose a Big Ten conference game as head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Hasn't happened yet.
Wow.
Has not happened yet. He's 23-2 overall. And Ohio State, going back to their Urban Meyer days, a 21-game Big Ten win streak, the deepest, most talented, by an overwhelming margin team in this conference. The only program that will be getting, well, now we're north of the Mason-Dixon line, so I have to say program.
Program.
Since we're north of the Mason-Dixon line here at the Big Ten, we say program. The only program that will be getting my money as far as winning this conference will be the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Last team to beat Ohio State in conference play was
Michigan State or Penn State?
Purdue and Rondale Moore. If you can, and that was a butt kicking that game.
As a freshman.
Shout out Saturday night under the lights
Wow.
in Indiana. I will take a shot on one team and one team only. Ohio State clearly the favorite. Wisconsin is sitting there at 9-1. I think you've got an excellent buy low opportunity here. More on that in a sec. Much like we said yesterday with Alabama, there are only 11 starters back for Ohio State. They lost Sean Wade in the secondary, and that secondary gave up a lot of big plays last year. There's a lot of question marks there as they begin to retool that defense. They also lost Justin Fields. Now, Ohio State doesn't rebuild, they reload, so they're going to be nasty. But if you look at Wisconsin, it's an interesting buy low spot. They were ravaged by COVID last year. Quarterback Graham Mertz hurt his shoulder later in the season. The offense couldn't do anything, but they do bring back 17 starters. They bring back the Big Ten's probably second best defense, and that's conservative. It's one of the best defenses in the country. They got Jalen Berger back at running back, who could be a dark horse to threaten for the Heisman Trophy behind that offensive line. Listen to the schedule. Host Penn State in week 1. Big opportunity to beat the Nittany Lions and then set the stage for the season. Neutral site against Notre Dame in week 3, but you have 2 weeks to prepare for that game. No Ohio State on the schedule. Your road games in the Big Ten. Illinois, Purdue, Rutgers, and Minnesota. All very winnable. So look for Wisconsin to threaten, but ultimately, can you beat Ohio State when it matters? That's where it's going to be very difficult. Now, outside of who could win the division, you took a look at the win totals for the East and the West. What caught your eye?
We're going to play good cop, bad cop here in the East Division with 2 teams that have a similar win total. I'm going to be good cop and go over 7.5 with the Indiana Hoosiers. We think this is a basketball program. Not anymore. They shell out $5 million a year for Tom Allen, and he's a pretty damn good coach. I think he's one of the better ones in that conference. Last year, IU, 6-1 straight up, 7-0 ATS in Big Ten play. They were dominant with Allen's offense led by Michael Penix Jr. They returned 17 starters, including most of that offense from a team a season ago that, again, 6-1 straight up, 7-0 ATS in Big Ten play. I think they will end up being the second best team in the Eastern Division behind Ohio State, but I'm very bullish on Indiana. Those 2 teams are sitting at 7.5. I played good cop going over with Indiana. Are you going to be bad cop with another squad?
I most certainly am. Excellent setup, excellent transition. The Michigan Wolverines and Jim Harbaugh under 7.5 wins this season. I like the fact that we're in lockstep there. 7th year of Jim Harbaugh in Ann Arbor. Jim Harbaugh was a former NFL quarterback. Jim Harbaugh is going to start Cade McNamara this year. It's like his 7th quarterback in 7 seasons. He hasn't figured out the most important position. And oh, by the way, as he tries to solve that, Don Brown was fired as defensive coordinator. They are revamping the entire Michigan defense. They want to go with multiple fronts, multiple looks. They want it to be very dynamic. It's going to take time to get that up to speed. And they don't have the offense that can carry the workload while the defense tries to figure things out. Now, I need to win 5 games, or I need Michigan to lose 5 games in order to cash this bet. I see them losing the home game against Ohio State. Right. I see them losing the road game at Penn State, and I see them losing the road game at Wisconsin. That's 3 right there. So I need 2 more losses from any of the following. September 11th, hosting Washington. Big game right there. Point spread is Michigan, very small favorite. Northwestern on October 23rd. Indiana on November 6th. All potential losses. And then get this. The sandwich spot of all sandwich spots at the end of the season. On November 20th, Michigan's going to go to Maryland. They're going to go to Maryland the week before they host Ohio State and the week after they're at Penn State. If there is a look-ahead spot on any schedule anywhere, that is the game right there. Michigan under 7.5 is going to be the play. I'm glad we're lockstep on that one.
Correlation there between Indiana and the Wolverines.
Very well said. More on that Monday as we will turn our attention to most likely the Big 12, the ACC, or the Pac-12 as we continue our countdown to college football kickoff. But now it's time for the good word. We got to take advantage of this fancy technology. Statement is read. First word that pops into your mind, write it down and explain your rationale. So here we go. After defeating Australia 97-78 on Wednesday night / Thursday morning, depending on where you live, Team USA Basketball is a 12.5-point favorite over France for Friday night's gold medal game. That tips at 10:30 p.m. Eastern.
The word
I love this.
I have come up with, red, white, and blue here, is dissed.
Dissed.
As in, I think Team USA was tired of being dissed by one of their very own. I will eat the crow. I will gladly stand and take my comeuppance. I am sorry. I apologize to Kevin Durant, Greg Popovich, and the rest of the red, white, and blue. I was fading you all tournament long because of what I saw in the exhibition round. And in that first game against France, I was dissing you straight to your face, and you have shoved it right down my throat. So I will no longer diss my fellow patriots from Team America. You know what? Yeah. And I'm backing red, white, and blue. I will lay it in every which way and form that I can. I will back them with my heart. I will back them with my wallet. I will be drenched in red, white, and blue, flying an American flag proudly outside of my home. No longer dissing Team America.
Team USA, Team America, the scene where the guy's puking everywhere, one of the greatest gifs of all time. That's a story for another day. This is a wide variance for you. If you jump on the train late and you win, all is forgotten.
Right.
If you mush that and you blow it here at the end as well, that's going to go down as an all-time great Olympic performance. Much like the men's 4x100 relay last night, if you caught that debacle, didn't even make the finals. All right, my word for this topic is going to be all in Soviet red. A little scary there, but I'm going to go with the under. If you want to bet, I don't have one on the side. I don't have one for the 12.5, but I will play the under in this game. France has been elite defensively, giving up 75 points per game throughout the course of the Olympics. The United States right behind them at 78 points per game. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are a lot of iffy competition on that schedule, and that's true. But when these two got together and played the first time, France won that game with only 159 points on the board. The total is 176. I think scoring will be up this time around, but I don't think the total should be that low. France plays at a slower pace. The U.S. is going to bring the defense. The U.S. has started slow in a lot of games. Maybe they don't this time around, but ultimately, between the fact that it's the gold medal game, locking down defensively, this is sitting 176. With the pace we've seen from both teams, under is going to be the play for me. The good word, number 2. The American League East is the only division in baseball without an odds-on favorite to win the division, as Tampa is currently even money at plus 100. Odds-on, for those who might not know, means minus 110, minus 120, minus 150. Not even money and not plus money. That is odds-on.
Perhaps you'll end up recognizing a theme here, but this is disrespectful.
Another D word.
To the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, I know the Boston Red Sox are just a game behind them in this division. I know the Yankees have added Joey Gallo and Anthony Rizzo won't stop hitting homers, and they're the damn Yankees. But when you look at run differential in this division, usually, oftentimes, the most predictive stat of how good a team is in Major League Baseball, the Tampa Bay Rays have a 105 positive 105 run differential. Boston's is just 49, and the Yankees are just 13. So this is disrespectful to the Tampa Bay Rays. So what? They don't have the payroll and the history of the Red Sox and the Yankees, but this is disrespecting them by not making them an odds-on favorite, as they should be, given what they've shown us the last 5, 6, 7 years. They know how to play with the big boys while being hamstrung in terms of salary limitations compared to the Yankees and the Red Sox, who can just wheel and deal and spend all that big market money. So disrespectful that they're not odds-on favorite, given their history and that underlying metric of run differential over the season.
Major League Baseball this season has been a case study in the fact that we are not able to believe what we see. We don't want to accept the Giants. We don't want to accept the Rays, yet every time we see them playing, they're winning and winning big. My word for this topic is going to be opportunity. Because while the AL East may not have an odds-on favorite, a lot of other divisions do, like the NL East, and that's an opportunity to make some money, as they say, Mr. Wonderful, in the department of betting on teams that aren't the odds-on favorite. The Mets lost again today. They have lost 6 of 8. The Mets have the 6th hardest schedule the rest of the way out. They don't get Jacob deGrom back until September. The Mets are in trouble, and they're currently the odds-on favorite to win the NL East. Right now, you could play the Philadelphia Phillies at plus 280 and the Atlanta Braves at plus 290. Put a $100 wager on either, and if either one of them wins, you'll lose 100 on, say, the Braves, but you'll win 280 on Philadelphia. You will turn a profit. Philly's got the easiest schedule the rest of the way out. They're a game back right now. Atlanta has the 4th easiest schedule the rest of the way out. They're only 2 games back. Those are 2 teams primed to make a run. The Mets are primed to collapse, and the price lies with the easy schedules in Philadelphia and Atlanta. Opportunity is knocking. Let it in, won't you? All right, number 3. Keep it cooking here. The good word. Jake Paul is a minus 155 favorite against Tyron Woodley for their cruiserweight fight on August 28th. Always as much Paul information as we can get into the program.
Exactly. Is disappointed.
Another dis word.
I'm disappointed that
like the theme.
YouTube/social media star is now making even more money as a legitimate boxer. And I'm disappointed that my guy from Mizzou-made Ty Woodley, is an underdog and the next victim to Jake Paul inside the ring. So this is just disappointing on so many levels for me, that you have to take Jake Paul seriously. And my guy from Mizzou, who was a great wrestler and a great mixed martial artist, is now an underdog against Jake Paul.
Wrestling is not going to matter in that fight, which is what leads me to my word, read. Read the tea leaves, ladies and gentlemen. Logan Paul, the brother, fights the marquee guys and loses, such as Floyd Mayweather. That's how he makes his money. He doesn't care about the record. Jake Paul fights guys with names that he can beat to build up his record. Ben Askren, Nate Robinson,
Mizzou guy.
and now it's Tyron Woodley. Woodley can fight, but this isn't about
exactly
kicks and wrestling. This is
not a
about
boxer.
punching. When you go back and look at Woodley, for all his success in the UFC, hasn't won a fight by knockout since Robbie Lawler in 2016. That's 5 years ago. Doesn't matter much, but ultimately there's a reason Paul is a favorite, and there's a reason he continues to be a favorite. He's hand-picking these fights, people. These are good prices for a guy who pretty much knows he can beat these guys. Keep that in mind moving forward. So, from the fight game to the gridiron. Tonight, the NFL is officially back. Preseason football, the Hall of Fame game from Canton, Ohio between the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. Who better to talk to? And there is no one, that's the answer, than the great Sal Paolantoni, who is live from Canton, Ohio. Sal, the tan looks great. The teeth are popping. Let's get to work. No Dak Prescott, no Ben Roethlisberger for tonight's preseason showdown. Additionally, the Cowboys have listed 16 starters who will not even make the trip to Ohio. How much playing time are you being told we'll see from potential starters on both sides of the ball?
Well, it depends on who you're talking about. If it's veteran starters, not very much. Normally that's the case in any game, but particularly in this game because it's the extra preseason game for the Dallas Cowboys and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I keep harping on this every time I'm on TV or radio, but this is the longest season in NFL history. We're going all the way to January 9th. These coaches have to be very cognizant of that. Rest these players, make sure you don't wear them out. But there will be some rookies tonight that we will see a lot more of. Najee Harris, for instance, running back out of Alabama, first-round pick for the Steelers. Mike Tomlin said he wants to get him plenty of work, probably into the second quarter, maybe 10 to 12 carries, but that'll be on the outside, more like maybe 8 to 10. And then a guy like Micah Parsons, first-round pick for the Dallas Cowboys out of Penn State, very important because Dan Quinn's defense is going to be so much different than Mike Nolan's defense last year, and it better be. They were 28th in the league in points allowed, right? So what I'm hearing out of camp is that Parsons is having a tremendous camp, that Dan Quinn is moving him around the line of scrimmage. He's listed in your program right now in the depth chart as your middle linebacker, but I don't think that's going to be the case during the regular season. I think he's going to be more of an elephant, more of a Charles Haley kind of player, where he will, line up where he wants to attack the football.
All right, Sal, when we talk about this Dallas Cowboys team, obviously the biggest concern beyond that defense from a season ago is the health of quarterback Dak Prescott. Now, he's been shut down because of the shoulder strain as he comes back from last year's lower body gruesome injury. But what level of concern or what level of confidence is there that Dak will be ready to throw the football as they expect come week one this season?
Well, that's a long way, we got 5 weeks to go before they have to suit up against the Tampa Bay Bucks. But I think, right now they're just focused on the next day for Dak Prescott. The training staff working through that shoulder sprain, removing the pain and discomfort that he's feeling, making sure that his base is solid coming off of that gruesome leg injury that knocked him out of the season last year. All of those things factor in to the overall health of one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the National Football League, and they go hand in hand. So you want to make sure that he's 100% when you get to September. So that's why you're not going to see him for a while. They leave here after the game. They're not staying for the enshrinement festivities. They're going right back to California to practice against the Rams on Saturday in California. I would be extremely surprised if you saw Dak Prescott in those practices on Saturday.
For the Steelers, we know that Mason Rudolph is going to be starting at quarterback and taking the first team reps, but what's the plan for Pittsburgh when it comes to backup Dwayne Haskins, who was with the Washington football team last year?
Yeah, so I saw him in training camp last year, and I was talking to Ben Roethlisberger when we were watching him throw, and his arm is very live. His movement is good. He obviously slimmed down. He lost a lot of weight, but gained some muscle. You can tell that he's been working hard in the offseason. Mike Tomlin says he's been working very hard in practice. I watched one practice, and I was very impressed with his accuracy and the velocity of the football. That's never been an issue with Dwayne Haskins. The big issue that he had in Washington last year was commitment to the game. We all know that. So this is his first test, and it'll be a big one tonight. You'll see some Mason Rudolph, but you're going to see a lot of Dwayne Haskins. And the coaching staff will be focused on him. How is he adjusting? How is he handling any adversity? How is he handling command in and out of the huddle? How is he handling what he sees at the line of scrimmage? And is he getting the ball out quickly? That's so important in this offense. The other thing is, under the new offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, with the re-emphasis on the running game, there'll be a lot more play action. The Steelers were last in the league in play action by far last year, and that hurt them. Can't disguise your passing game if you have no play action. And Dwayne Haskins is a good play action quarterback, so we'll watch that tonight.
All right, Sal Pal, we love and appreciate your insider info here, but this is not NFL Live, this is Bet. So our viewers want your wagering advice as much as they want your insider insight. Tonight, the Steelers are 2-point favorites in the Hall of Fame game, and the total has dropped from 33 to a minuscule 31.5. How would you approach this game if you were to place a wager?
Yeah, wow, that's a huge drop. So, it seems to me at 31 you're being enticed to go over, right?
Right.
I mean, that's obvious. Yeah, because in these games, especially here, we've always seen a lot of late game touchdowns, special teams, whatever. So I'm advising over on the 31. And then you got to go with the Steelers, and the Steelers are given 2, right?
Yep.
So you got to go with the Steelers. They could probably have the better quarterback play overall than the Cowboys, and that's going to help them be a little bit more productive. By the way, haven't you guys got the memo from Doug Kassarian and Daily Wager that when I come on these shows, my name is Uncle Sal. It's not Sal Pal. Didn't you know that?
We did get the memo, and you know what? That's our fault, Sal. Uncle Sal.
Okay.
We screwed that up, my friend. We screwed that up, Uncle Sal. Always love having you over to the house, though. You're our favorite uncle. There's no doubt about that.
Uncle Sal Paolantoni live from Canton,
I bring the
Ohio.
pasta.
There we go. The Brazil.
We appreciate the time, Sal. Thank you so much. All right, so Sal's picking the game. Time for us to pick the game. 8 p.m. tonight Eastern. It's the Hall of Fame game live from Canton, Ohio. Pittsburgh laying 2, total of 31.5. Now, yesterday on this show, we both took the under at 33.
Correct.
So a two-part question for you. A, would you still bet the under at 31.5? B, outside of that, what else are you thinking for tonight's game?
I mean, there's a key number there of 31 that it has not crossed that threshold yet. But as Uncle Sal just pointed out, man, that line is so low. They're just daring you to go over that. And he's right. Just a late turnover, fumble recovery or special teams touchdown. I'm less inclined to certainly bet under 31.5 than I was 33. So I'll probably pass on betting the total at that number. Or maybe sprinkle a little on the over and try and middle it, even though that middle is literally just one possibility
right on
at
32. Huh?
So it's probably a pass for me on the total. I'm still, though, stuck on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay. And we're in agreement there with Uncle Sal. And I think you have some really good trends of not only Mike Tomlin in the preseason, but trends on this Hall of Fame game. So I will ride those. And I'm glad I'm on Uncle Sal's side when it comes to the Steelers and yours as well.
I'm glad we jumped on the 33 under yesterday because obviously you wouldn't want to make the bet today if you already have the 33 in your pocket. Now, if you're looking to get involved, the last 5 years, the Hall of Fame game only really averages about 28 points per game. But you look at the quarterbacks and you say to yourself, these guys stink. Well, remember something. If they stink and they can't move it offensively, they can just as easily turn it over inside their own red zone and set somebody else up for a score. So we're really trying to thread the needle here. Maybe some pizza money still on the under, considering the last 20 years, the Hall of Fame game only averages 32 points per game. But this is going to be tight. This is going to be really tight. When you're talking about a 1.5 point move, usually doesn't mean that much, but from 33 to 31.5, that's like a significant portion. So what I would do is, I'm with you. I would play the Steelers -2 in this game. Mason Rudolph is the most experienced quarterback we're going to see, and we're going to get Josh Dobbs in the second half for the Steelers. There's a lot to like there because he's a dual threat out of Tennessee. Mike Tomlin has won 9 of his last 12 preseason games. Lifetime in the preseason, 26-1 against the spread. So against the spread, bang on 500. but he's been really hot as of late. I think 9-3 straight up, 9-2-1 against the spread, so keep that in mind. Mike McCarthy in Green Bay was 27, 22-3 against the spread, but what's he going to do in Dallas? He didn't get a preseason last year because of COVID. So ultimately, I'll lay the 2 as well with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and I think Uncle Sal made some great points about how the depth of quarterback that Pittsburgh will have to run out there is just better. Josh Dobbs, you may not know his name, but the dude has been in Pittsburgh in that system for 3 or 4 years now, so he's very, very familiar. He's worked with everyone, has chemistry with the guys he's going to be throwing with. You can't quite say the same for the QB depth chart in Dallas, and I'll get into this further today on Daily Wager on ESPN2, but as far as preseason betting goes...
6 p.m. Eastern.
6 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for the time plug. When it's a coin flip and these third and fourth stringers, these undrafted guys are going to be getting a lot of the run in terms of playing time, I'd rather bet on the coaching staff. I'll lean into which coaching staff I think is better, and I know Mike Tomlin and his staff are better than Mike McCarthy and his staff down there in Dallas. That's why Tomlin is still at Pittsburgh all these years later, and McCarthy's trying to resurrect his standing in the National Football League after flaming out with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. So I like the Steelers -2, and I like what Uncle Sal is saying about their quarterback depth combined with what I think is going to be an edge, the coaching staff.
Those are probably the 2 most important things you need to look at when you're handicapping the preseason. This is just one game. If you pass on this, that's fine. When we get to the games next week, ultimately you want to see how the coaches handle the preseason because John Harbaugh hasn't lost in like 10 years in the preseason. The Ravens are absolutely fantastic. Some coaches love the preseason. They win, they cover. Some coaches couldn't care less, and it shows in their ATS records. You also want to get an idea of what the strategy is going to be. Who's going to get aggressive and who are going to be the quarterbacks that get the most playing time. For example, tonight with Dallas, it's Garrett Gilbert, Cooper Rush, and Ben DiNucci. Feel confident with any of those 3 guys? Probably not, but that's what the preseason is. So there is an opportunity to take advantage of some of these numbers. This is beatable despite what some people will tell you, but you got to get ahead of the moves like we were telling you about with the total yesterday. Right. You got to understand the information. How much of the starter is going to play, and what does the coach normally like to do? Those are your most important pieces of information. All right. These weren't just sitting here all day for no reason, ladies and gentlemen. It's the end of our Thursday edition of Bet, and that means sucker bets. One last bet on the way out the door, but the twist here is we try to steer you away from something that might be quite popular. It might be something that caught your eye, but for some reason or another, we want you to go the other way. Sucker bet, what do you have?
How about we hop inside the octagon, Joe Fortenbaugh?
Ooh, okay.
UFC this weekend. Vicente Luque, Brazilian.
Love that name.
He is favored -120 against Michael Chiesa, an American, in a MMA fight at UFC this weekend. And I think the favorite is a sucker bet. I'm not laying the 120 with Vicente Luque. Chiesa, a great wrestler, a great grappler. He wants to get this fight on the ground. Luque is aggressive. He's going to come forward, try and strike, and end Chiesa. This is a 3-round fight. Chiesa has the stamina, certainly, to go 3 rounds. And I think he will use that aggressiveness of Luque against him, counter him, get advantage, take him to the mat, and grind out a 3-round win. I don't think Chiesa is going to end or stop someone like Luque. If this ends in a stoppage, it's likely the Brazilian who wins. But I think this fight goes the distance with Chiesa in control on the mat, dominating the fight, winning, having his arm raised at the end because of the judges' scorecard. So I like the underdog in this one. I think Luque is a sucker bet as a favorite at 120 against Chiesa.
I like where you're at because Chiesa is a friend of the show.
Yes,
He's
he
been
is.
a guest here before, and if you were going to pick against him, well,
no.
I wasn't going to side with you in any way, shape, or form on that one.
I've learned my lesson.
UFC.
Fading Team America, friends of the show. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm not going to do it.
Very nicely done. I'm going to go to the diamond. Tonight, the Cardinals and the Braves will be taking each other on. The total is 9. Easy to look to the over in this one when you have Wade LeBlanc and Tuki Toussaint on the mound. Very easy. Don't do it. Play the under. Play the under 9 because this opened 9.5 and is dropped for a reason. Don't dismiss Wade LeBlanc. Since he was traded to the St. Louis Cardinals, he has made 6 starts. In those 6 starts, he's got an ERA of 2.93.
And good.
We're not to say he's the second coming of Bob Gibson or anything like that, but he's been better than the bookmakers are giving him credit for when it comes to the pricing. Now, Tuki Toussaint has only made 3 starts this year, 2 very good starts, and then he got shellacked last Friday against the Brewers. But the Brewers are a better team offensively than the Cardinals. They also hit right-handed pitching much better than the Cardinals do. So tonight, we are going to play the under. Don't fall for that over trap. LeBlanc versus Toussaint, under 9 runs.
Yeah, I've seen it with LeBlanc. He's been surprisingly good, but I will have a bet on this game coming up at Daily Wager, ESPN2, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3
another
p.m. Pacific.
plug.
Don't like my team's chances.
How are you feeling about all the golf that's being played?
I'm feeling all right. My DFS lineup is okay. That's good. I need DJ and Brooks to step it up after their round one, but
No cut event.
Our boy Daniel Berger, 5 under, I believe, through his first 18. So feeling good. WBC, St. Louis.
He's Tyler Fulgham. I'm Joe Fortenbaugh. Thank you for tuning in. Daily Wager today, 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Have a great weekend.
I'm going to play a lot of golf myself.